Okay, wrapping around comic boards. I thought this is something everybody did. Obviously not. So this is a metre of fabric, and I've folded it in half, selvage to selvage. And I'm going to fold in. It's not it's not really a scientific measurement, but I fold in a little bit on the side. That's probably how much is that? About 5.5 inches. It's not, it doesn't matter how much. You could be a little bit less, but a little bit more. But this is the selvage side, so I've got the two selvages. I take my comic board. These are acid free, so you can store fabric on them without it worrying that it's going to do any damage. And I push it into where that fold is and push it right up so that it's sitting right onto that fold. And then I'll pull the other side over. And then just, I'm not really making sure it's crease free, but I'm just kind of making sure there's not too many creases. Take hold of this top edge and you can see that comic board is just right at the top edge there. And fold it over. I'm just going to press that little bit because this fabric's been folded in a pile waiting to be comic boarded. You can press as much or as little as you want. If you press it as you go, you get thinner, a thinner finished thing, which means you can store more fabric in a smaller space. And we all need to have as much fabric as we can in whatever space we've got, and it's never quite enough space. So just keep folding. I do as little as 1/2 metre and as much as 2 metres on comic boards. Fat quarters I fold and I have them in a CD rack. So you get to this end and I've got this bit left over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over. And some people will just fold that last bit over. I can't bear to have the raw edges showing. So basically, once I've got that last bit, I'm just going to fold it in. So what I get is a fold. Now, I know a lot of people use the little plastic clips that you get off of the collars of a man's shirt. I don't know if you can still buy them, but you used to be able to. And just pop, I can't get my iron back on the thingy, just pop a little plastic clip through just to hold those in place. To be fair, mine are packed into, you can see they're packed into cupboards, and they're packed in, I have them stored that away up. And I don't need anything to keep them on. The sheer volume of fabric will do that trick. So that's comic boards, comic board books. Comic boards, they come in, how big are they? I've never really thought about it. It's about 6 3/4 by 10.5. And these are put inside of people that collect vintage comics. How bizarre is that? Put them inside of the comic to stop them from creasing and what have you, and then they put them in acid-free, sort of like plastic slips, because you don't read, apparently if you're a comic collector, you don't actually read things, you just collect them. But that's what these are for. These are, and also writing stuff on, because I write a lot of stuff on them. Tend to be, when I've got fabric off and I'm experimenting, it tends to be the first thing I can write on. So I tend to write things and then I put the fabric back on the board and think, what did I do with my measurements? Happens all the time. That's comic board, but comic boards for storing fabric.